So now it is my joy to introduce our next speaker, Yuria Celidwen. Yuria springs from an indigenous Mayan and Nahua lineage of mystics, healers, and poets from the highlands of Chiapas, Mexico. She is a scholar of indigenous contemplative practices who dreams, thinks, writes, and breathes what she calls the indigenous ethics of belonging, which is rooted in honoring the planet and all life. She is going to soon have a new released book, Flourishing Kin, Indigenous Wisdom for Collective Well-Being. So please join me in welcoming Yuria, a dear friend and a senior fellow at the Institute.
Lekta leshe, pamea yesh, binti awelelik, haon hatumbalam nawat sakbaya etik tatstoy halalskinan Chiapas, wakol awalik yuunte labay behonte, kape yuunte taleshe. That's my indigenous Maya Tzeltal language. And I always start with that language because it's the language of our lands, our heart, that reaches to you. And it's so good to be in indigenous land, Ohlone land, being welcomed, belonging. And with that, I'm going to start with the ancient indigenous science of storytelling. And this will be an old story, way too old, maybe stale story, about blame, shame, self-loathing, and condemnation of the other. But a story that now we composed to give way to a new story of remembrance, resilience, reverence, and love. Once upon the greenery of years, panic held me in its grip of uncertainty. I was barely hanging from the horns of the moon with no safety net underneath. Mere existence hurt in beauty and dismay, bliss and horror, not unlike today. Stories run fast about a world inert, dreamless, merely for stock, where domination bolsters loss and subjugation furthers bondage. See, these tales of alienation and division, conquest and defeat, they paralyze us. Unable to act, we become sterile. Fear of our own creativity due to our power to destroy life. What wicked influence convinced us to keep an inner cell against our dreams? So I kept roaming in that maze of powerlessness, unable to belong. With little of the sweetness of youth and very heavy in the bitter taste. I was too young for wisdom and already too exhausted from fighting for my life. Between recklessness and hopelessness, I dared the world to counter back. Time felt rigid then, lithic, inescapable from my own rigidity of unattainable control. I had yet to learn that uncertainty is freedom. So I imagine humanity carrying a heart of stone until I realized that elder rocks are made of tiny little siblings packed together. And while they may seem as if weighted down by time, most often buried, silent, and left for dead, they are still porous. Channels between the siblings flow through which the elements can go. See, there's a song resounding in their heart. Their hearts are full of reverence, full of the wisdom of the lands. And so, this was their song. Dear ones, we know very well the mud you're in. Know its breath. Surrender. Still. In its depth lies the acorn's dream of groves. Your story, while it seems your own, it's always woven with others. Now a thread looking for warmth and weft. Later a shared home and food for others. We are fertile ground. To know the son of wind is to know your word. Know you're made of songs and silence. The kindest word is where the healing comes, from tempests and from foes. To know the Son of Water is to know your form. Know you're made of abyss and waves. Day and night they flow and go in constant, restless games. To know the Son of Fire is to know your mind. Know you're made of lightning sparks, that in the shadows dreams give tender moonlight gleams. To know you're son of earth is to know your heart. Know you're made of seeds and blood. Within your web of roots, bliss flows to nourish life, to live in love. Ours is the gift of trust, the gift of commitment. These words are the waters that do not resist, but coheres. These words bridge time from ancestral songs to the future, to this very moment where they spiral into your heart. These are the stories of our peoples that return sowing seeds of reverence, of home, of love. It is a love that weaves in collective ways, a love that reaches your heart, warping and wafting in a colorful fabric of plurality. Loving the world, it opens and flows, re-emerging. Lazo Kamati. Hokolawal. Gracias. Thank you.